Oh man, it is late. It's 11:50 and we are about to start a session at the Gardens playing 5-5. So definitely later than I normally start. We'll see how this goes. Wish me luck.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is that I just don't like till, you know. Alright, we got the flush. Okay, he's got a set of eights. We got him. Hold.
Tell him he's got a lot of class, and it's all low.
We're playing 5-5 at the Gardens. I sit down at an action table with $500 and it gets crazy. After playing a couple hands, it starts becoming more and more obvious.
What is it?
We're not just playing Texas Hold'em anymore. What are we doing? We're hunting a whale. A whale is defined as a rich person who bets recklessly and does not play poker very well. In our case, it's the guy in seat 8. He has 2 beers in front of him and a $5,000 chip stack. Now, the Gardens has a $600 maximum buy-in, so how did he build this chip stack? After watching him play for about 30 minutes, I've seen him 3-bet with 9-7 off and King 9 off, and when he's involved in a pot, he's often making massive moves. I've seen him raise or go all in with bottom pair, gut shot straight draws, as well as better draws and good hands. If he connects in any way with the board, he's gonna put maximum pressure and take huge risks. And I'm gonna try to capitalize on this. Step 1. I move to a seat that's on his left to gain a better position on him. In this case, I move 2 seats to his left. Now when he raises, I have a chance to re-raise him with good hands and isolate him, or just play in position of him in general. Step 2. I wait for a good hand to play against him. After waiting for a good spot, I get dealt pocket 10s in the big blind. There's a straddle to $10, the under the gun opens to $25, and the hijack calls. Then, our whale, who just lost a big hand, 3-bets to $100 from the button. I now have 2 options, calling or raising. If I call, it's pretty much guaranteed that the under the gun and hijack, and maybe even the straddler will call as well, as everyone's trying to get a piece of Moby Dick. Then, I'll have to hope for a good flop to play against multiple opponents. My other option is to 4-bet. If I do this, I'll either get everyone to fold, or I'll most likely end up going head-to-head with Moby. Hopefully, he'll have a mediocre hand, and I'll end up jamming the rest of my stack, no matter what the flop comes out. I choose this option, and I bump it up to $300. It folds to Moby, who thinks for about a minute and then calls. That's a good sign, because if he had a bigger pair than me, he would have probably just gone all in. The flop comes out Jack 4-7, 2 diamonds, and I go all in for $285. I'm just hoping he doesn't have a jack. He thinks about it for about 30 seconds, and then calls. I flip my cards, and he shows Jack 10 of spades, turn 3 of spades, river Queen of spades, and he wins the hand. Well, we were ahead pre-flop, but unfortunately took a hit. If you could, like this video to help me turn around my luck. I buy back in for $400, and in this hand, I have to post from the cutoff. The under the gun +1 limps, the whale limps from the Lojack, and the hijack opens to $20. I look down at pocket kings. Come on, baby. I choose to 3-bet to $65, a little smaller than normal because I want the whale to come along. It folds around to him. He thinks about it for 30 seconds and then folds, unfortunately, but the hijack calls. The flop comes out 9-10 jack with 2 diamonds, and he checks to me. I have an overpair and a gut shot straight draw, and I bet $100. He then goes all in and has me covered, so it's $225 more for me to call. The nice thing about having kings here is that I block a lot of king-queen hands that have the nut straight here. He could have a set or 2 pair, but I think our hand is just too good to fold, and I make the call. The turn is the 6 of diamonds, which is not great because the flush comes in, and the river is a 5. He shows Queen 10 for middle pair and a missed straight draw. Phew, we take it down and we're back in the game. I'm card dead for a little over an hour until I find my next spot to strike with ace jack off in the Lojack. Moby is on the straddle, so this seems like a perfect spot to take some money from him. I open to $35 and the small blind, big blind, and Moby call. The flop comes out 4-9-2 with 2 clubs, and it checks around to me. Like I said, I've been pretty card dead, and the only 2 hands I've shown in the past couple hours have been big pocket pairs, so I should have a pretty tight image. I choose to represent an overpair here and bet $100. The small blind folds, but the big blind calls, and then Moby goes all in for $4,000. This is what I'm talking about. These are the types of moves he frequently makes, often with a draw or single pair. Too bad I don't have an overpair to call him with. I fold, and the big blind folds as well. Okay, here's what you guys have been waiting for. We're about to get into a big hand with the whale. We're gonna find out if my harpoon can do some damage to the great Moby Dick, or if I just wind up getting eaten alive. I have ace-10 in the hijack, and I open to $25. I open a little bigger than normal because Moby is in the big blind, and I know he'll still call with trash hands. He calls, and we're heads up to a flop that comes ace-jack-10 with 2 diamonds. This is it, guys. We flopped 2 pair against the biggest action player on the table, and he checks to me. I bet $35. He thinks for a few seconds and then raises to $150. I think what I should do here. If I re-raise, I really make him pay if he wants to see out any draws, but it's a super strong move, and the thing about Moby is that he doesn't just have strong draws and hands here. I've also seen him make these raises with terrible draws and single pair hands. If I just call, I can let him dig his own grave, so that's what I choose to do. The turn is not what I want to see, the 9 of diamonds. Moby has me well covered and goes all in. I have $530 left and I have to make a decision. He could have a flush now, but at least I have the 10 of diamonds in my hand, blocking a few suited diamond hands he could possibly have. I doubt he has queen king of diamonds because he would have 3-bet me pre-flop. If he has a small flush, then another diamond on the river would give me the winning hand, plus I could still hit a full house. This player could also just be making a move, so I call, and the river comes in offsuit 8. He says he has 2 pair. I tell him I have 2 pair as well, and he shows Jack 9 offsuit. I show my cards and I scoop a big pot. While I'm gathering my chips, I have to tell you guys about the most insane hand I think I've ever seen. So at this point in the night, a few people had been making major dents into Moby's stack. Another big action player joined the mix, let's call him Rufus, and he opened to $35 from the hijack. Moby was down to $1,600, and he 3-bet to $120 from the button. It folded back to Rufus, who called. Pay attention, you guys, because I'm gonna have you guess these guys' hands in a little bit. The flop comes out, King 6-8 with 2 diamonds, Rufus checked, and Moby made it $200. Rufus almost immediately called, and the turn came the Queen of Spades, putting a second flush draw on the board. Rufus checked, and Moby went all in for almost $1,300, a massive bet. Rufus tanked, hemming and hawing, and then called. Okay, pause the video now and write in the comments what you think the 2 players had. No cheating, please. It's no fun if you cheat. Okay, you done? The river comes out a 2, and Rufus says, I have 10 high. And then the craziest thing happens. Moby says, you're good. What? What? Rufus flips over 9-10 offsuit, and Moby flips over 9-7 offsuit. What? A $3,000 pot won with 10 high. And the craziest part is that Rufus said, yeah, I put you on a low flush draw, so I thought 10 high would be good. Is that not the most insane thing you've ever heard? And just like that, Moby has turned into a beached whale, having lost over $5,000 in 4 hours. This is why it's important to find a good table. Our whale ended up turning into delicious sushi, feeding everyone at the table. I keep playing as long as he's on the table, but I don't get into any big hands, and after he leaves, I decide to call it a night as well. Alright, that was crazy. I just got home. It is almost 5 in the morning. I was on the table for about 4 hours. I lost that initial buy-in of 500, and yeah, playing against a guy with a ton of money. He had about 5K in front of him when I sat down, and by the end of the session, he had lost every chip. Then bought in for 300, lost that, then bought in for 500, lost that. It was nuts. So luckily we were able to come away with the win. We rebought with what money we had left, which was $390, and we worked that up. We bought in for a total of $890, and we cashed out for a total of $1301. All right, thanks for watching.